What if the greatest strength you hold is not in the words you speak, but in the silence you keep? Most people assume silence means defeat, that if you do not respond, you have surrendered. But that belief only exposes their misunderstanding of power. Silence is not weakness. It is the move they never expect, the strategy they never prepare for. And because of that, it is the move that breaks them. People prepare for your reaction. They rehearse what they will say back, how they will twist your words, how they will drain your energy in endless debates. What they never prepare for is absence. They can argue with your voice, but they cannot argue with your silence. And when the noise they expected suddenly vanishes, the ground beneath them begins to shake. This is the paradox most people miss. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is a presence so strong it does not need to shout. A presence so grounded it does not need to explain. A presence so secure it leaves others scrambling to fill the void you create. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and silence is living proof of that. When you withhold your words, you demonstrate mastery over yourself. You prove that no one has access to your emotions unless you grant it. That is strength in its purest form. Now here is the uncomfortable truth. If you always feel the need to explain yourself, you are already handing over your power. If you believe silence makes you small, you have misunderstood the essence of strength. And if you fear silence will make people forget you, you are wrong. Silence makes them remember you more than anything else. It lingers, it unsettles. It forces them to wonder what is happening in the quiet space they cannot enter. On StoicCraft we explore not abstract theories but living philosophy tools that sharpen your mind and strengthen your soul in the chaos of modern life. Today, we will uncover 8 lessons, each forged in the fire of Stoic wisdom, each a weapon you can carry into any situation. By the end you will see that silence terrifies the unworthy, and settles those who try to control you, and transforms you into someone untouchable. You will see that silence is not surrender, it is power, and once you embrace it, you turn the tables without lifting a finger. Silence makes them lose control, and that is why it is so feared. The moment you stop feeding them with your words, their confidence begins to crumble. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself," and that is exactly what silence trains you to become, the master of your own reaction. People thrive on control. They live off your explanations, your arguments, your energy. Every word you give is fuel for their sense of power. And when you cut the line, when you withdraw your voice, they are left stranded with nothing to consume. Suddenly the person who seemed so certain, so dominant, begins to stumble. They replay old conversations in their head. They try to guess what you are thinking. They pace in circles wondering what will happen next. Their control dissolves because silence has taken away their most reliable weapon, your reaction. This is the moment the hunter becomes the hunted. They thought they could predict you, but your silence makes you unreadable. You are no longer playing the game they designed. You are forcing them to sit in the prison of their own thoughts. And that prison terrifies them, because it reveals just how powerless they truly are without your participation. Imagine a workplace conflict where someone always tries to provoke you into defending yourself. The more you argue, the stronger they feel. But the day you simply stop responding, the day you meet their noise with calm silence, they lose their grip. They cannot twist your words because there are no words to twist. They cannot use your reaction because there is no reaction to exploit. What remains is the mirror of their own behavior, and that reflection is uncomfortable. The truth is, silence exposes reliance. It shows just how much they depended on you to validate their illusions of control. Without your words, they are forced to face the emptiness of their own actions. And emptiness is frightening, because it reveals the hollowness behind the mask. The next time you feel the urge to respond, Pause and ask yourself, am I giving away control, or am I keeping it? That single question can change everything, because in many situations silence is not passive, it is the strongest decision you can make. When you choose silence, you do not simply walk away. You take the ground from beneath their feet. You make them confront themselves. And that confrontation is far more punishing than any argument you could have delivered. Silence has another hidden effect that most people never see until it is too late. It multiplies your value. Seneca reminded us that it is not the man who has too little who is poor, but the one who craves more. And nothing creates craving like silence. When you are always available, when your presence can be taken for granted, no one truly values it. They assume you will always pick up the phone, always answer the message, always explain yourself when asked. But the moment you remove yourself, the moment you stop giving away your time and energy so freely, something shifts. Your presence becomes rare, and human nature works in predictable patterns. What is rare becomes valuable, and what is constant becomes ignored. Think about modern life. Social media has made constant access normal. Everyone is expected to respond instantly, to be online, to give pieces of themselves at all times. But when you step back, when you allow silence to replace constant replies, people notice. They begin to crave the attention they once dismissed. They scroll through old conversations searching for the comfort of your words. They replay moments in their head, wondering if they missed something. With every hour you stay quiet, their hunger grows. Your absence is no longer emptiness. It is scarcity, and scarcity awakens desire far stronger than any speech could ever create. Silence not only makes them miss you, it makes them respect you. It proves you are not desperate. It proves you are not theirs to command. It shifts the balance. You stop being an option. You become a loss they cannot ignore. This is why many people realize the value of someone only when that person is no longer accessible. They believed they could call on you at any time, and suddenly they are left with nothing but echoes. That absence begins to haunt them, and the respect they never offered in your presence begins to grow in your absence. The key is to guard your presence like treasure. Stop giving constant access. Make people earn the privilege of your attention. When you give yourself freely, you are taken for granted. But when you choose silence, your worth is stamped in gold. In the workplace, the colleague who speaks less but delivers results commands far more authority than the one who is constantly talking. In relationships, the person who does not beg for attention becomes the one whose attention is most desired. Scarcity changes everything, and silence is the tool that creates it. Silence also carries a message louder than any speech. I do not need you. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and this truth comes alive the moment you refuse to explain, to chase, to justify. They expect you to collapse without their approval, to shatter without their presence, to beg for their attention. But when you remain silent, you destroy that illusion. You show that you are whole without them, that your identity does not depend on their recognition. This is the essence of strength. Dependency is chains, and silence is freedom. The one who clings is always weaker than the one who can let go. In toxic relationships, silence is often the first act of liberation. The partner who once thrived on your explanation suddenly loses control when you stop providing them. In the workplace, the manipulative boss who feeds on your defensive words has no ground to stand on when you choose not to respond. Silence is not withdrawal, it is declaration. It declares that your worth is not defined by someone else's approval. It declares that you are not seeking validation because you already carry it within yourself, and that realization terrifies anyone who once believed you needed them. The absence of need shifts the power dynamic in ways people rarely expect. When you demonstrate that you can thrive without them, They begin to question their own importance. They feel unnecessary, irrelevant, replaceable. And the truth is, they are. Because the moment you stop giving them the ability to define your self-worth, you break the chains that tied you to their opinion. You rise above the games, and they are left scrambling in confusion. This silence is not wasted space. It is the soil where growth takes root. Instead of spending energy chasing validation, you redirect that energy into building yourself. You train your body. You expand your knowledge. You strengthen your discipline. Every quiet day becomes an investment into a version of you they cannot touch. And while you are building, they are crumbling because their importance shrinks with every step you take forward. Your silence does not signal emptiness. It signals expansion. It shows that you are not standing still, you are moving, evolving, rising. So the next time you feel the urge to break the silence, remind yourself, every message you don't send, every explanation you don't give, every word you save is proof that you no longer depend on them to define who you are. Your silence is not absence. It is independence, and the one who does not need is always stronger than the one who begs. Respect is never given to the one who begs for it. It is never granted to the one who cannot stop explaining, pleading, or chasing. And this is where silence becomes your shield. Epictetus warned that if you want to improve, you must be willing to be thought foolish and stupid. Because the one who stays quiet does not beg to be understood. That is the hidden source of respect. When you refuse to chase after validation, when you choose dignity over explanation, you rise above the noise. Think about it. The colleague who constantly justifies every small decision loses credibility, while the one who speaks little but carries themselves with calm presence is trusted more. In relationships, the partner who is always begging for clarity becomes less attractive, while the one who steps back silently is the one who commands attention. Silence shifts perception. You no longer appear desperate or small. You begin to look composed, secure, and unshakable. Respect is not demanded, it is commanded, and silence is the battlefield where that command is proven. Each time you withhold your words, you are laying another brick in the wall of dignity. People may not admit it out loud, but within themselves, they begin to respect the one who does not crumble under the pressure to respond. Your refusal to explain is not weakness. It is a declaration that your value does not depend on convincing anyone. There is a deeper lesson here. Silence exposes boundaries. When you do not answer every call, when you do not reply to every message, you show that your time is not cheap. And boundaries are the foundation of respect. The person who sets no limits is always taken for granted. But the one who quietly protects their space commands admiration even from those who once overlook. So ask yourself in every moment of conflict, does this response raise my value or lower it? If it lowers your value, silence is the higher path. Because every silence you keep is another moment where you refuse to play the role of the desperate, and instead you step into the role of the dignified. Over time, that consistency forces people to see you differently. The same voice they once ignored becomes the presence they cannot forget, and the respect they never gave you in words, they are compelled to give you in silence. Power does not belong to the one who shouts the loudest. It belongs to the one who needs the least. Seneca's wisdom comes alive in silence, because when you no longer rush to explain or defend yourself, the balance of power shifts completely. They believed you would always answer, always justify, always come running to clear the air. But the moment you step back, the ground tilts beneath their feet. Suddenly, they are the ones waiting, doubting, wondering if you will ever respond. The hunter has become the hunted. This reversal is not about cruelty. It is about balance. For too long, They believed they could dictate the terms of interaction, but silence reverses the roles. When you do not react, they lose their grip on your emotions. When you do not explain, they can no longer twist your words into weapons. When you do not chase, they are forced to chase. It unsettles them because the script they relied on has been torn away. You see this everywhere. In negotiations, the person who fills every pause with nervous chatter always loses ground, while the one who can hold silence forces the other side to reveal their weakness. In personal relationships, the one who refuses to argue back often drives the other into reflection far more effectively than shouting ever could. And in conflicts, silence transforms you from predictable to mysterious, and mystery always carries power. Every moment you stay silent is a moment you tighten your grip on control. It signals that you are the master of yourself, that your attention cannot be bought cheaply, that your peace cannot be stolen. The more you hold back, the more they lean forward. The less you give, the more they want. What once looked like indifference now becomes authority. So the next time you are tempted to break your silence just to ease the discomfort, remember this: the one who controls themselves holds the real power. Not the one who screams, not the one who demands, but the one who can remain still while the world tries to provoke them. That stillness flips the dynamic. The one who once commanded your attention is now scrambling to earn it. And the one who once felt superior now realizes that silence has left them powerless. Silence is not only a strategy to unsettle others, it is also medicine for your own soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, and nothing improves the quality of those thoughts more than stepping away from the noise. When you choose silence, you are not just refusing to respond, you are reclaiming the space that allows you to heal. Distance clears the fog. Quiet allows the wounds to close. Stillness strengthens what constant conflict had been weakening. Think about the world we live in now. Notifications never stop. Arguments flood every corner of the internet, and everyone demands a response immediately. But when you retreat into silence, even briefly, you take back your ability to breathe. You no longer react out of exhaustion or fear. You act out of clarity. That space is where you rebuild brick by brick, transforming into someone stronger than you were before, while they sit in doubt, replaying the past and wondering why you will not answer. You are doing the work they cannot see. You are journaling your thoughts, sharpening your discipline, training your body, meditating, aligning yourself with what actually matters. Every day of silence is an investment in the stronger version of yourself that is emerging. What they experience as absence is, in truth, your evolution. This is why silence is not just a refusal to engage, it is a shield. It protects you from their chaos. It blocks the constant drain of defending yourself. It removes you from the cycle of reaction and places you in the sanctuary of reflection. In that sanctuary, you rediscover the parts of yourself buried under neglect or noise. You realign with your purpose. You rise above the wounds they inflicted. And you walk out not broken but fortified. So when the urge comes to send the message, to call back, to explain once again, pause and redirect that energy inward. Put it into something that builds you rather than drains you. Let your silence be filled not with waiting, but with growth so undeniable that when they look back, they cannot believe what they lost. Because silence is not only absence from them, it is presence with yourself. And in that presence, real healing begins. Silence does more than protect you, it forces them to face themselves. Epictetus taught that people are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them, and nothing disturbs the mind more than silence. When you refuse to reply, when you do not give them the comfort of your voice, your silence becomes a mirror they cannot escape. Every unanswered call, every ignored message, every pause that stretches into days cuts into their confidence. It forces questions they never wanted to ask. Did I push too far? Did I lose something I cannot replace? Were they stronger than I ever believed? And deep down, they know the answer is yes. People can argue with words. They can dismiss explanations. They can talk over you and convince themselves they have won. But they cannot run from silence. Silence lingers. It creeps into their thoughts at night. It burns when they scroll through old conversations. It whispers when they see something that reminds them of you. What once looked like indifference now becomes the sharpest question. What if you never come back? That uncertainty is what truly breaks them. The beauty of silence is that it turns their own mind into punishment. Without your words to drown out the guilt, their imagination takes over. They relive moments they ignored, promises they broke, arrogance they carried. And because there is no reply to soften the blow, they are forced to sit in the weight of their actions. This is reflection they cannot avoid. Because your silence refuses to rescue them from themselves, consistency is the key. If you break your silence with weak moments or mixed signals, you let them off the hook. But when you remain steady, when you hold your ground with calm discipline, their affection deepens. They cannot dismiss it as a temporary mood or a passing anger. They are forced to confront the reality that you are no longer playing their game. You have chosen yourself, and now they must wrestle with the consequences of losing you. Silence in this way becomes one of the most powerful teachers. You don't lecture them. You don't preach. You don't argue. You let absence do what presence could never achieve. And the lessons they learn in that emptiness are often the ones they remember for the rest of their lives. Silence is also the clearest declaration that you have chosen yourself. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." And the highest form of strength is not begging someone to see your value, but walking away when they don't. Your silence is not retreat. It is decision. It is the moment you refuse to shrink, refuse to settle, refuse to stay where you are disrespected. They thought you would fight for their attention, that you would lower your standards just to keep them. But instead, you disappeared. Not out of weakness, but out of self-respect. That absence is louder than any speech. Silence says, "I am done explaining. I am done chasing. I am done pouring my soul into a place where it is not valued." And once you take that step, you rise above them. You stop waiting for a validation and become the validation yourself. You stop depending on their presence and realize you were complete all along. You stop begging for love and begin to embody it within yourself. This choice terrifies people who believed you would never leave. They feel the ground shift as they realize they have lost someone strong enough to walk away without looking back. Their confidence fractures because they see what they cannot undo. But for you, this is the beginning of freedom. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is survival. It is building a life where your dignity cannot be bargained away. It is creating standards that protect your worth and refusing to bend them for anyone. When you decide to choose yourself, your silence becomes more than absence. It becomes a fortress. Every quiet moment is a brick laid in the wall that guards your heart and mind. And the stronger that fortress grows, the less anyone can shake it. Silence proves that you no longer need to prove. It proves that you no longer depend on their approval to feel alive. It proves that you are willing to walk alone if it means walking with integrity. So write down your standards. Define the kind of respect, the kind of love, the kind of treatment you will accept. And then let silence protect those standards. Because once you choose yourself, you become untouchable. Your silence has already spoken the truth. You are done settling. And nothing is more powerful than a person who has finally chosen their own worth. Your silence has already proven more than words ever could. It has shown that you are not weak, that you are not desperate, that you are not defined by the noise of others. It has revealed strength in the spaces where people thought you had none, dignity in the moments where they expected you to bend, and clarity in a world that thrives on chaos. Silence is not absence, it is dominance. It is not emptiness, it is authority. Every time you chose silence over reaction, you were training your mind to stay firm, your heart to stay guarded, and your spirit to stay free. This is the shift Stoicism teaches us. True control does not come from mastering others. It comes from mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that you have power over your mind, not outside events, and when you honor that truth, you become untouchable. Your silence is proof that you can walk away without anger, proof that you can stand tall without explanation, proof that you can protect your worth without shouting about it. Now it is time to turn reflection into action. Write down your standards. Decide what kind of love, what kind of respect, what kind of treatment you will accept and refuse to bend for anything less. Train your mind, fortify your emotions, and embrace the freedom that comes from choosing yourself first. Because the life you want is not built through constant reaction, but through disciplined silence and unshakable boundaries. If this message lit a fire in you, let it not end here. Hit the like button, subscribe to StoicCraft, and share this with someone who needs to reclaim their strength. And I want you to declare it in the comments right now, as an affirmation not just for today, but for the days ahead. My silence is my power, and I will never give it away. Let the world feel your strength, not through noise, but through the undeniable presence of your silence.